Hello, this is the luckiest maths teacher in the world. Thank you so much for tuning into this video on using combinations to calculate probabilities. And that's the thing about probability. As I've said before, the formula is very simple. Remember, the probability of an event is the number of ways it can occur over the total number of outcomes. So, let's look at this example here. Start of the year, I must pick 8 NRL teams that will make the finals out of 16 teams. So what's the probability my guess is correct? So I'm assuming here that each combination, each set of 8 NRL teams that makes the final is equally likely. I'm just going to use this formula here. It sounds so simple, but this would be a very hard question without combinations. What I need to do is I need to find out the number of ways it can occur over the total number of outcomes. So if I'm just getting one guess, the number of guesses I have is just one. That's really simple. What's not simple is calculating the total number of outcomes. How many different combinations are there of 8 NRL teams out of 16 making the finals? Well, we learned in a previous video how to calculate that really simply. See, if I want to pick 8 from 16 in total, the total number of combinations is just 16C8. And if I put 16C8 in my calculator, it just tells me it's 12,870. So the probability I guess correctly, I get one guess, and this is the total number of outcomes. So combinations made this question much easier. So let's look at a more complicated question. So let's try this question here. I have 15 Year 11 and 15 Year 12 students, and from those 30 students, I need to pick 11 for a soccer team. So I want to find the probability that at least one Year 11 student is picked. So firstly, if at least one Year 11 student is picked, I could pick 1 or 2 Year 11s or 3 Year 11s all the way up to 11, because I'm picking 11 in total. The most number of Year 11s I can pick is 11, okay? So I could go through and calculate the probability that exactly 1 Year 11's picked, the probability that exactly 2 Year 11s are picked, and so on. Gonna take me too long. Don't want to do that. Instead, I know that probabilities add to 1. So if I know the probability something happens, the probability that it doesn't happen is just 1 minus that probability. If the probability something happens is 0.3, probability it doesn't happen is 0.7, 1 minus 0.3. So in this case, the probability that at least one Year 11 student is picked is just going to be 1 minus the probability that no Year 11s are picked. So I'm just going to calculate the probability no Year 11s are picked and subtract that from 1. So let's go through and figure out the probability that I pick no Year 11 students. In other words, all of the students picked come from these Year 12 students. I'm going to use this formula. Probability of an event is the number of ways it occurs over the total number of outcomes. In this case, it's actually a bit complicated to calculate this. It's complicated to calculate this, but combinations will help. So let's figure out the probability that no Year 11s are picked. So how could this happen? So firstly, let's figure out the number of ways it could happen. Well, if no Year 11s are picked, that means I'm picking all 11 students from these 15 Year 12s. So the number of ways I could do that is 15C11. That's the total number of ways that I could pick a team that has no Year 11s and they're all Year 12s. So the total number of outcomes, what is the total number of ways I can pick 11 students from these 30? Well, that's easy. That's just 30C11. So the probability of picking no Year 11s is 15C11 over 30C11. I can just put these two numbers into my calculator. So putting these numbers on my calculator, 15C11 is 1365. 30C11 is this massive number here, 54,627,300. So if I make this into a decimal, I get a very small number. I get 0.0004 zeros and then 2499. So that's the probability that I pick no Year 11 students. It's very, very unlikely. So the probability I pick at least one Year 11 student is just 1 minus this number, which is going to be very close to 1. It's approximately 0.99975. Very close to 1, so it's almost certain, really, really close to being certain that I'll pick at least one Year 11 student. Both of these questions made so much easier due to combinations. Alright, thank you so much for tuning into this video. This has been the luckiest maths teacher in the world. Have a great day.